94.5 Cats, Yakima's rock station. Bigfoot Con is happening tomorrow, Saturday, at Legends Casino Hotel. Fun is how we roll. And man, Sasquatch is going to be in the house. We have a plethora of guests in the studio today. Let's just start them off. Sir, your name?
My name is Mel Skahan, and I'm local to the area. I'm an enrolled Yakima member and worked for the Yakima Nation in a forestry program for 27 years.
All right, and to your left?
Dr. Jeff Meldrum. I'm a professor of anatomy and anthropology at Idaho State University.
Wow, okay. Thank you, doctor. And next?
I am Matt Moneymaker. I'm the head of the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization and was one of the hosts of Animal Planet's Finding Bigfoot.
That is amazing. First off, all of you, thank you for coming here, and thank you for helping make Bigfoot Con a continued success in the Yakima Valley. I'm a firm believer in the saying that absence of proof is not proof of absence, but we actually have so much proof that Bigfoot is out there. Without spoiling any of the talks that's going to be happening at Legends tomorrow, what's like your theories? Is he interdimensional? Is he extraterrestrial? Center Middle Earth? Where is Bigfoot?
Yeah. Well, my point of view probably is seen as rather mundane compared to some of those possibilities, but I consider it just a biological species. It's an upright walking species of primate that happens to inhabit temperate forests instead of the tropical refugia where the few remaining species of great ape reside today.
Now, you say that might be mundane, but it's really not, considering how much we've explored this planet and how little we still know about this planet, that something as big as Bigfoot can still be hidden after all these years.
Well, that comes down to over the years. I mean, before we had the 67 Patterson-Gimlin footage that showed that we have something out there roaming the woods of the United States. But since then, the growth and the encounters have changed, and the people that have interactions with these forest people also have taken this to another level of spirituality. And so with the Native community, this is where we've always known that they have been there, and now our connections with them, as you are saying, is out there, but the world isn't ready for what I know about the connections that other people are having, and we're slowly building that up to make it kind of like a norm.
So when you say your connections, are you talking like maybe a skinwalker where they can transform and, you could be one in disguise and we don't even know yet?
Yeah.
I mean, you have the same haircut as me. That could be hiding something.
Well, and then you may not be able to edit this after we're done talking. You just may be put into the trunk of my car. Because now you know too much.
I found Bigfoot. He's in the trunk. Okay.
But my journey involves a hair sample that I collected. And that collection of hair over the years was hidden from sight. But the forest person that I collected it from contacted a medicine man that was in the area. And that's how he got a hold of me, the Bigfoot, and wanted his hair sample back that I collected out in the woods.
So you've actually had one-on-one interaction with Sasquatch.
The spirituality portion of it, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Fascinating. Mr. Moneymaker, what is your take on this? Where has Bigfoot been at? Where's he been hiding?
Well, first of all, there's a big misunderstanding about it when you're talking about it in the singular.
Okay.
It's not a him, it's a them. It's an animal population. So there's many in Washington State. There's many in various other states. There's a lot in Ohio and in Pennsylvania and West Virginia. In Washington State, in parts of it, there's more than others, but they're living in woods. They're living in places where people don't live. And usually the places they live are so brushy, so densely forested that you can't get anywhere near them without them hearing you coming. And then when they hear you coming, they jam. So they behave differently than, say, bear or deer. If there's enough of a distance in between you and a bear and deer, they'll just kind of stand there and look at you. But these things are far more intelligent. They don't even want you to see them. So if they think you're close enough to even spot them, they'll jam off into the woods. And that's usually what people see. People see them running away back into the woods, which is, what you would expect for something that's so good about keeping away from people. And they can get away in the woods a lot faster than you could chase them, so people don't do that. And, people say, well, why don't you use dogs to chase them? Well, in the past when people have tried that, they kill dogs. They're very big and strong. They catch animals by hand like deer, so they can make short work of a dog. So people don't even try that much anymore. But yeah, they're still out there. They're nomadic. People see them every once in a while. I talk to new witnesses almost every day because most of the reports come into the BFRO, and they're in many more parts of the country than you would expect. But they're still the rarest large mammal out there. So there's fewer of them. There's maybe one of them for every 1,000 mountain lions, which would make them very rare because you don't see mountain lions around very often, and these are far more rare than that. But if you're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, then they'll come and try to scare you out of the area. And we figured that out a long time ago, and that's how we organize our expeditions, to try to get in places where they're going to try to make us want to leave. And then we know for sure they are there. So they're around. But that doesn't mean it's easy to get them on camera, because those things usually happen at night in dark woods. Some people say, well, why don't you just solve the mystery and go out and shoot one? And somehow they think that it's easier to shoot one. If it's almost impossible to get them on camera, that it's not going to be any easier to shoot one, because you have to see them to do either of those things, which is difficult to do because they're mostly nocturnal, at least when they come around people.
So what can we expect with Bigfoot Con 2024 this weekend, Saturday at Legends Casino Hotel?
We're going to have two different areas. We're going to do the kind of like the paranormal spirituality in the early hours before lunch, and then we have the hard evidence folks that will come up and present everything that had been presented to them over the years to help solve this mystery with the hard evidence that Dr. Meldrum has, and all the sound recordings and evidence that Matt has collected through the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. And so you can expect a lot of different views. Everybody's welcome. We can have the believers, the people that are on the fence, and we can also have the skeptics. You're all welcome. And the biggest thing that during these conferences is that we're not trying to make people believe. We're just trying to present our firsthand knowledge of everything that we're bringing to the table.
That is awesome. One more question, and this might be going way down the conspiracy theory route. You can all chime in on this. I'm not sure if I'll air this part. This is just for my own knowledge, because you can ask Jesse. I have a metal sign in my office that has a picture of Bigfoot, and I'm a comical dude. I do believe. I love the paranormal and cryptids. But on the metal sign it says, "Don't stop believing." Rock station, it all fit. Kind of like a way I think about with extraterrestrials and aliens. Do any of you think that possibly the government has already captured one, and they're just not telling us about it, like all the different secrets that we don't know that supposedly the government knows?
Well, I won't say that I have any insider knowledge that I could confirm or refute that hypothesis, but just from personal experience, I've seen nothing to suggest that that's the case. My experiences have involved the middle management, various agencies like U.S. Fish and Wildlife, state game and fish departments, and U.S. Forest Service, and so forth. And it always revolves around those middle managers being concerned about the perception of their reputation, their credibility, or that of their department that they're over. The perception of potential abuse of public funds. It generally boils down to that. And you get past that, and it's just their own personal opinion. And so it can vary. If there's a change in leadership, for example, in eastern Idaho, I work also with colleagues in western Wyoming. We did a lot of networking with agency personnel to a very positive results. But at one instant, you might have an administrator who's very negative and puts the kibosh on any suggestion that there's any activity going on under his watch. And then he's replaced by someone who's very intrigued, very excited, very interested, to the point that they actually, for example, train their trail crews, their trail repair crews, in identifying potential Sasquatch footprints and how to document them photographically and with plaster casts and so forth, and in case they run upon any interesting evidence. So I don't see any evidence that there's a conspiracy to suppressing information.
Okay. Either of you want to jump in on that?
Yeah. The reason I think the government doesn't have one is you can compare it to Area 51. or in any of the sorts of things the government has done with UFOs. So Area 51, there is one guy who definitely worked there and who has now come forward as, I guess you'd call it, a whistleblower or something, to talk about what he said he saw at Area 51 with alien stuff, that they have a body and stuff. That may be true. It may not be true. But we know this guy actually was there. Well, there's nothing like that in the Bigfoot world. There isn't somebody who's come forward and said, I used to work for the government. They have a body. I have seen it with my own eyes. It's there. And in America, it's full of leakers and whistleblowers. You would expect one of them, because if they had a body, it wouldn't just be a couple of people who've seen it. There would be many people who know about it. And there'd be enough people who know about it, and it would have been going on for long enough. Some of those people would retire, and some of them would come forward. There'd be rumors about it, and I or Jeff would have heard that, but we never have. My experience of doing this TV show, we did 100 episodes all over the place. We got nothing but great cooperation from government entities, from Forest Service. I mean, we got in trouble one time where we landed a helicopter, but besides from that, we usually had a lot of cooperation, last-minute permits. I mean, they were bending over backwards to help us. So at that middle-level manager you talked about, in the past where you got resistance, it was much more of a thing of the past. Nowadays, the attitudes are a lot different. A lot of it is because of that TV show. It really kind of made it a little bit more conversable subject where they could talk about it among themselves. But I don't think the government has a body. I think it's interesting, though, how people will jump to that conclusion to think, oh, the government knows this, the government knows that. And I've always looked at this, I'm almost offended to think that the government knows more than I do. I don't think so, because they'd have to be going after it as much as I did, and nobody else ever has. Anyway.
And I also look at it like, what's the point of them suppressing it? Oh, we found a new mammal.
Right.
There's no money in it for the government.
I can understand for aliens, but not for just like an animal species.
Yeah. Unless they were interdimensional and they're keeping those stargates now.
But we would hear about it. It would leak.
That's
just
true.
Like it did for Area 51. And there's just, where are the leakers? Where are the whistleblowers? So I just don't think they've got a body on ice.
That is awesome.
Just one quick footnote, since you brought up the financial, the aspect. The one theory is that it's suppressed in order to avoid potential threats against logging, like the mother of all spotted owls. And I have heard stories, mostly rumors though, of sort of inside, unwritten policies that. So amongst loggers, for example, if you see some footprints or you catch a glimpse, you just keep it to yourself. You don't talk about it. You don't go to reporters or anything. It just, keep it on the down low, because we don't want people, one, in the private forest lands, especially the logging industry, private lands, but we don't want the attention drawn that might bring in the tree huggers and the conservationists that would threaten our industry.
So to carry on with that, so you're talking logging, you're talking forestry industry here, and then management. We had a change of management one year, and he found out that I researched and found evidence of the forest people while at work, everything else. He brings me into his office, closes the door, and then he goes, "What are you trying to do with this?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, once these are proven to exist, this is going to be like the spotted owl. This is going to change everything. And I told him, I says, I ain't trying to do anything. I said, this is these are legends. These are stories that I grew up with. And now I've proved that to myself that they exist. And me sharing it with everybody else is what I'm trying to do in order to protect them. And it doesn't matter who it is, what it is. Everybody needs a safe house to live in. And that's all I was trying to do. And then, boy, he didn't like the answer. And so on that, we had an encounter with one of our other employees. First thing that he did, here's a camera, here's a recorder, here's everything that you need. Go up there, investigate this. So where's he at? Like us talking with everybody here who are skeptics, who are non-believers. It's that balance. And it's going to teeter every time you hear something, whether it's negative or positive. So, and it's always going to, it's going to work itself out eventually.
So one final question to wrap this up. Do you think 2025 will be the year that we actually get more concrete proof and widespread knowledge of Bigfoot's existence?
In my personal experiences and my personal investigations that I'm currently working with other people, just like everybody here has a network, my advancement in growth and my open mind is taking me to another level. Whether it's going to be next year, I don't know, but there are some things that are happening out here in the Bigfoot world that is going to blow people's minds away.
I'll say this too. I think Jeff would agree with this. The one thing we're really looking forward to in 2025 has to do with DNA analysis through an accredited university, North Carolina State. And they're really focusing a lot of attention on doing something which has never really happened before, which is a systematic examination of physical evidence for DNA. There's been people in the past who've said they've done it, people who weren't really DNA analysts, but who were trying to get funding for it. It was kind of a con job. And then another time where it was for a TV production company where they made it look like it was a better effort than it really was. But this is the first time where it's a long-term study, taking in evidence samples, hair from all over the place, and using the most modern techniques. DNA has come a long way in the past 15 years. So we know now they've got like 90 different samples. That's the latest tally Darby told me, the guy who's heading the project. And out of 90 samples, I would tend to think that there's going to be some of them that are good, legit Sasquatch samples. So it may be something as small as a hair rather than a whole Bigfoot body that really makes some waves in 2025.
That's amazing. Doctor, any last thoughts on this?
No, I just would echo what Matt said. I think maybe the 2025 timeline is a little optimistic, but we're on that road, I think, to where this may be the productive, effective line of research finally. So we'll see what happens.
That's awesome. That road stops in Toppenish on Saturday, October 26th for Yakima Valley Bigfoot Con 2024. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming to the Valley, continuing these talks, and thanks for swinging by the Cat Studios and Talkin' Bee. This has been fascinating and awesome. And Dee Dee and Jesse, thank you for letting me nerd out with people I absolutely love. This is great. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.